Welcome into Rome Rich. Today I'm getting into 3 things I love and hate about Airbnb in 2024. Stick around to the end to see if my hate outweighs my love. You might be surprised where I stand on short-term rentals in this current environment. Also, the things I hate about Airbnb aren't being talked about too much, so you might find those pretty unique. Now, if you haven't seen any of my other videos, my wife and I are full-time real estate investors with 8 short-term rental units. Been doing it since 2018, so we've seen the ups and downs of COVID. We have over 1 million in bookings, close to 1,000 reviews, and a 4.86 out of 5-star rating throughout all our listings. So when I give this info, it's very much coming from someone who is extremely experienced in the Airbnb business. Now, getting right into the love side of Airbnb.
I'm not a smart man, but I know what love is
The earning potential. Short-term rentals have, hands down, the highest earning potential of any real estate investment that I've seen, at least. A well-run Airbnb property can easily gross 3 to 5x what long-term rates would be for the same unit, and those rates are fairly easily attainable because you only need to furnish, list the property, and manage the bookings. If you were finding this amount of value add through other means, it would have to be through much more capital intensive route. Like you'd have to get super creative, think like adding units, rezoning, condo conversions, etc. All those strategies can work for certain properties, but if you can get the same or better returns for just furnishing and listing on Airbnb, that can certainly be the path of least resistance for maximizing ROI. The next thing I love about Airbnb is the freedom it can give you. I'm not gonna lie, short-term rentals are a lot of work to run, but if you implement automation systems and you find a good team of cleaners and maintenance people, they can become much less of a burden. The cash flow from a well-performing short-term rental can easily take the place of a salary and spring you from that pesky 9 to 5 you love so much, don't you?
You see, we're putting the cover sheets on all TPS reports now before they go out. Did you see the memo about this?
And take it from me, it can absolutely happen. We were able to convert a bunch of our long-term rentals to short-term rentals, and the increased income totally replaced my wife's corporate salary. We are now able to work together and make our own schedules, which has been great for our family, so we're really thankful that we went this route. Now, the last major thing I love about Airbnb is that it is still a real estate investment at its core, so you're capitalizing on what I like to call the holy trinity of wealth building, which is cash flow, appreciation, and equity buildup. Not only are you getting that massive cash flow, but you're also generating wealth while the property appreciates and the guests cover your mortgage payment. And of course, a piece of that goes towards paying down your loan balance. Now, if you know of another investment that creates value in 3 ways, I would love to hear it, but I've not seen anything that even comes close. So that's why I'm a huge real estate proponent, even in the current challenging environment. So enough with the good times, let's get into what you really want, which is why I hate Airbnb right now.
I hate you. I hate you. I hate you. I don't even know you, but I hate you too. And I especially hate you.
And some of these I'm not hearing a lot, so let me know what you think. My first issue is that even though I love real estate investments, as you already know, when you run short-term rentals, you're basically in the travel industry in addition to being in real estate. And if you manage your own Airbnbs like we do, this means you are constantly responding to guest inquiries, questions, issues, etc. And your level of customer service plays a huge role in how your units are ranked on the site, which can help or hurt your bookings. If you're not ready to provide an exceptional level of service for your guests, which is no easy task, mind you, it'll be tough to keep your ratings up, resulting in less bookings and less revenue. And I feel like hosts can get caught up in acquiring a short-term rental because it's pretty fun, buying it, designing it, but the real long-term value is created by the quality and experience you provide. And this is just a constant grind that can really wear on hosts, and it's something I don't enjoy about Airbnb. Now, the next one is a biggie. I don't think it's talked about nearly enough, but over the years, it's become evident to me that Airbnb is much more pro-guest than pro-host. And this was never more clear to me than going through COVID with several Airbnbs. The company just decided to unilaterally cancel and refund months and months worth of bookings without consulting hosts at all. Now, these bookings for us translated into thousands of dollars, and it was a difference between the mortgage getting paid or not. Don't get me wrong, it's not like I was gonna charge guests during the travel ban in COVID. It's just that I wanted a chance to maybe work out a more creative refund structure with them, like credits they could use at a later date or something like that. Some other examples are increased hosting fees, and a recent policy now charges hosts for canceling bookings for a multitude of reasons. The general feel to me is that ever since Airbnb went public, there's just been more and more pressure on hosts while most of the expansion efforts are on the guest side. Lastly, I hate the current market environment for short-term rentals for several reasons. There's a lot of areas with oversupply that's hurting rates and occupancy across the board. The buying opportunities are few and far between because there's not much inventory out there, and even if you find a good property, higher rates make the deal a lot tougher to pencil. And finally, regulatory changes are rampant as short-term rentals are in the crosshairs of politicians and government officials trying to create more affordable housing opportunities. And don't get me wrong on this, like I see both sides of this issue, and I do think that reasonable short-term rental bans can free up housing in some densely populated areas, but overall this won't even put a dent in the undersupply of housing throughout the nation as a whole. And there's a lot to unpack here in terms of housing affordability. It's actually a topic I want to get into in future videos, so if that's something you want to hear more of, please subscribe to the channel. Now, just a quick example of these regulations. As I was literally writing this piece, I was made aware that a new bill in Vermont would limit the amount of days hosts can rent their properties statewide to only 66%, or 2/3 of the year, and the rest you have to occupy yourself. Like, I can't see this bill passing, but legislation like this seems to be coming across more and more frequently as short-term rentals are pushed into the spotlight. Now, for the moment of truth, where do I stand when I take everything into consideration? I'd love to be more bullish on short-term rentals, but at this point, I'm much more on the hate side than the love side when I weigh all the issues. In fact, I've rented most of our units long-term because the Airbnb grind is becoming less and less worth it as margins become thin and regulatory risk increases. Now, if you want to hear more on that, here's a couple great videos where I take a deeper dive into those issues. I look forward to answering any questions or feedback in the comments below, and if you like stuff like this, please consider subscribing to the channel for more real estate and FIQ content.